Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Putty's Podcast. I am your host at Michael J. Putty. Episode 20. Time flies when you're having fun. Finally, temperatures are above freezing. Some of the snow has gone away just in time for more snow this coming week. Can't wait for that. And for the first time, I don't remember ever seeing this before. I went to the store last weekend, and I'm coming home, and I see a bunch of backhoes and a dump truck blocking traffic. They're scooping up the snow since it's not going away. Now, apparently this is common practice for large snowstorms, but I have not seen one in quite some time. But good. What took so long? Genie's idea. Speaking of last weekend was the Super Bowl. A good friend of mine invited me over to his house, as has been the norm the last several years, except last year. And we had a good time. I wasn't even thinking about parking, but he let me park in his driveway because his wife and kids don't like parking in the driveway for some reason. So I didn't have to stress about parking. It was great. The food was delicious. His wife made homemade pigs in a blanket. They ordered fries from somewhere. I think they ordered wings. I'm not sure if they ordered plain wings and then they flavored them, or they ordered wings because the wings were freaking delicious too. To be a gracious guest, I made brownies, spared no expense. I'm not a big gambler, but every year at the Super Bowl, I make a bet. So I'm looking them up. I think I mentioned this last week. I don't want to spend $50 only to win 10. I'd rather, if I'm betting, I want a big payout. I want it to be worth my time and money. So I narrowed it down to 4 this year. 4 that were paying out pretty nice, but seemed pretty easy to get, I guess. So I'm surprised the payout was that big. But I chose both teams need 1 touchdown and 1 field goal per half. Seems pretty easy. And then I need both teams' top wide receiver to catch for more than 5 yards a quarter. Once again, easy. But no, both my bets were gone. Well, the first bet was gone in the first quarter. By halftime, the second one was out. And I'll bet like $50. But I still have my prize winnings from winning the fantasy football championship. So I'm sitting on house money. So I upped it a bit. The touchdown field goal per quarter per team, per half, I made 100. And I bet 50 on the wide receivers. That's 150. The payout was over $4,000. I think it was mid-4s. That's what I'm talking about. But of course, no, it didn't hit. Fuck. And none of my boxes hit. For the first year in quite some time, I had decent numbers. I had some shitty numbers, but I'm in 2 pools. In both pools, I had 7-0. And of course, that didn't hit. Figured 7-0 would be great for like the first quarter, maybe second quarter. But no, they kicked a field goal. I think it was 9-0 or 0. I don't remember what it was anymore. Slow, boring game unless you really like defense. But then it came time for the halftime show. Again, I was checked out. My boxes were busted. My bets were done. Time to enjoy the halftime show. And man, did I enjoy that halftime show. Just production-wise alone, it was beautifully shot. Great sets. Camera angles, camera work was on point. And the energy, the vibe was infectious. My head was bopping. My toes were tapping. It just felt like an overall happy, positive halftime show. And of course, ending with the only thing more powerful than hate is love. And that's exactly what he brought. Good job to everybody involved. Well done. Well executed. I heard the MAGA one sucked. Even the president didn't watch it. Most MAGA people didn't watch it, and I think we knew that. Most people wanted to watch his halftime show to hate watch. And that's what they did. Plus, it didn't make too much sense. I think it was Candace Owens came out and said the MAGA halftime show was pre-taped 2 weeks prior. With a very small audience, they moved around to make it look like it was more full. But yet Kid Rock still had that lip sync issue. You think they could have fixed that in post? Last show I mentioned my coworkers were talking trash about Benito, and I was having none of it. Not one of them came up to me this week and mentioned anything about the halftime show. They just said the game was boring, and that was it. I wasn't pushing any buttons. I wasn't going to ask. I'm pretty sure they didn't watch the MAGA one. I'm pretty sure they either hate watch Bad Bunny or just give a fuck and just went about their own business like most people used to do in the halftime shows. I believe this is a relatively new phenomenon. I think it was in the 90s, mid-90s, the halftime shows all of a sudden started becoming a thing. But now since they are such a big thing, last year a lot of people had their panties in a knot about Kendrick. That's not the kind of music they listen to. We can't understand a word he's saying, even though he is singing in English. And of course this year with Bunny. I wonder who they're going to pick for next year. Do they keep going this route and poke the bear? Do they pick someone more universally accepted? Do they go the other route and maybe pick a country star? There's this stupid theory that the NFL's scripted and the color of the logos tell you who's going to be in the Super Bowl. And next year is kind of like an aqua and orange, Miami Dolphins colors. Nice. So one that puts that theory to bed because the Dolphins are not making it to the Super Bowl. But someone kept this theory alive and pointed out those are the colors that adorn Taylor Swift's latest album cover. So could we see Taylor Swift? I know she was asked this year and declined, maybe next year. Her boyfriend or fiance's last year, maybe. That would make sense. But what would the haters come out and say about Taylor Swift? Because no matter who they pick, there are going to be people who are bitching and complaining about it. So you can't please everybody. But now that football season is over, we can now continue the long tradition of counting down to football season. But every year after the Super Bowl, everyone's so excited for baseball season because pitchers and catchers report for spring training. But like hockey and basketball are still going on. It's around the All-Star game for both leagues, but no one really talks about them too much. Everyone's focused on football and baseball. Speaking of baseball, the Mets are not looking like they're going to be doing much this year. They had a big fire sale in the offseason. It just sucks being a fan of shitty teams, man. It really does. I had fun a couple years ago with the Dolphins. We had a couple years, fun years with the Mets. Now it's just back to mediocrity. We're at the bottom of the barrel like the Jets. We're just mid-tiers. Maybe we're in the hunt for a wild card, but I don't know. We'll see. You never know. Gotta believe, as they say, right? Last week I talked about my journey into cooking. And I made that baked ziti, which I ate the entire thing in one sitting. The recipe said it should feed a family of 2 to 4. I ate the whole thing in one sitting. But growing up, one of my favorite meals was meatloaf. My mom's homemade meatloaf. Still to this day, I have yet to have anything that tastes as good. So I'm thinking, let me try meatloaf. I feel like that's a huge endeavor because that's actually really cooking. So again, find multiple recipes. A lot of them didn't tell you how much measurements to put in for what. A coworker of mine told me to mix ground beef and turkey and add a little veal in there. I thought I bought ground turkey as well, but it was just ground beef. And as a kid, I went to a friend's house. Till this day, I'm still amazed that in the middle of the meatloaf, she put a hard-boiled egg. Fucking blew my mind. It was fucking delicious. Here I am almost 40 years later, still talking about it, still dreaming about it. So that was my plan. My mother told me to add ketchup to the meat to give it some sort of flavor. So I was going to do that. And then I was going to insert a hard-boiled egg somewhere. So I found a recipe that was easy to follow. Forgot the ketchup. Forgot to put the hard-boiled egg inside. And for the glaze, I was just going to layer it with ketchup. This woman gave me a recipe for a glaze that called for Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire? Worcestershire, I don't know. But if you have an anchovy allergy, you can substitute soy sauce. And I love soy sauce. So I did that, made this glaze that looked like barbecue sauce, put it in. I think it was only for 45 minutes. I'm like, there's no way this chunk of meat is going to cook through in 45 minutes. Again, knowing nothing about cooking. Man, it was fucking delicious. Once again, I ate the whole fucking thing in one sitting because I'm a fat fuck. I have no portion control. I have no willpower. It was slightly pink in the middle, which I was hesitant about. The bottom had like this white hue to it. I just assumed I put too much cooking oil on the bottom. But it was good. Really good. Looking forward to trying it again with the ketchup inside, maybe toying with the recipes. And I'm 2 for 2. Baked ziti and meatloaf. No measurements of the garlic powder or the seasonings or some spices. And it comes out great. What next, though? Yeah, because spaghetti and pastas are easy. Everything else is just basically heating and eating, like I mentioned last week. I'm trying to think of what else can I cook. Now, lasagna is the next big one. But it's very similar to baked ziti, same ingredients, so I'm not in a rush to try that. If I can find a small recipe for 2 to 4 people, maybe, but I'm not in a rush. So now I'm just trying to think of what else I can cook. But who knew? It's been fun. I remember back in early October, mid-October, I was worried about the holiday seasons coming up. And when Green Man was co-host, he asked me what I want for the holidays. I said March. I want to get through everything. Made it through the holiday seasons themselves. Martin Luther King plans fell through, so I had to face it alone and got through it. And then Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day and my birthday, the last two. February is the last month. Halfway through, almost there. I'm like, I don't want to be home for Valentine's Day alone, miserable, ruminating. And I've been seeing a lot of ads for singles events. So I text my 2 single friends, hey, I don't want to be alone on Valentine's Day. I'm getting a lot of ads for these things. Anybody down? One of them says, no, she has her daughter, but we're more than welcome to come to her apartment to hang out. Now, ideally, that wasn't what I was hoping for or expecting. I'm not going to meet somebody new at her apartment, but this is the same apartment I went to for my ex's birthday, and it worked. It was fun, had a great time, it was distracting, didn't think about anything I should not have been thinking about, if that makes sense. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's go, let's have some fun. Made some brownies again, Reese's peanut butter cup brownies. Amazing. My other friend didn't think he could make it, but his plans opened up, so we're ready to do this. And never hear from her. So my friend just comes over to my house. We hang out, order pizza, watch some TV. Got through it. It was fun. And yes, I am recording this after Valentine's Day. I'm recording this Sunday, February 15th, the night I usually post the show. I tried to do the show Friday night like I normally do, but circumstances did not want me to do the show Friday night. I don't know if it's just me, but apparently it's not, the more I'm getting into this voiceover acting stuff. But it's very hard to do this. It's very hard to talk to yourself alone with no feedback. Because you trip over your words, you get tongue-tied, you say the wrong word, you just give up mid-sentence. A lot of things go wrong here. So you have to go back and either edit on the spot or suck it up and edit it in post. But man, I could not put a sentence together Friday night. I couldn't say single. I couldn't say certain words. I had trouble finishing sentences. I just couldn't put thoughts together. And around 8 minutes in, recording time, I think maybe 20 minutes go by. I'm like, fuck this. I need a break. Let me calm down. Let me reset. And I come back 10 minutes later, and right away, I can't say a word. Now it's 1:45 in the morning, Friday night. And I just lose it. I'm like, fuck this. And I just start punching my microphone. I'm like, fuck you, man. What the fuck's wrong? So I come back to record another 5-10 minutes later, and now the microphone's loose, is making all these noises. I'm like, fuck me, man. And like I just mentioned, Saturday I had plans. So here I am Sunday afternoon. I was waiting for the new microphone to come in. The ones I don't like, they're super sensitive. You can hear my stomach. You can hear my neighbors. But instead of waiting, I just went back to my old, loyal, trustworthy microphone I've been using for the last 10 years. But it does sound very different. It took me a while to get the levels back up to where they should be. It's just very different. I didn't think it was that big of a difference, but now I am noticing a difference. Let's see what else is going on. I was on a dating app, and my ex-girlfriend's best friend popped up. And it stung. I was surprised it stung. Now we're almost, 6.5 months in? My therapist was off the first week of February. So I went to that AI chat bot that I've been using. Man, these things are awesome. Very helpful. Highly recommended again. I can't say it enough. But apparently you got to be careful which ones you pick. Because it was on the news. They did an expose about these AI chat bots and how helpful they are. But a lot of them present themselves as therapy, present themselves as AI therapists, which is against some sort of regulations and guidelines, of course. Thankfully, the one I'm using does not do that, nor am I stupid enough to believe this is actually a therapist talking to me. But sometimes you just need to talk to somebody. Sometimes you just need an ear to listen to. So I tell this AI chatbot, and she spits out some stuff to me that is super helpful. She goes, "This is a reminder, not a setback." Oh, deep shit. Just a reminder of the connections that I made and bridges that are no longer there, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, fucking thanks. And last week, the Saturday before the Super Bowl, I'm watching that Chevy Chase documentary as the brownies were cooking. I started talking to this app again. I forgot what I was talking to about. I just wanted to keep the streak alive. Because that Sunday nights, they give you a recap of what they've learned and what you talked about and what you need to focus on or not focus on. And it leads me to talking about my last relationship. And I don't remember how this conversation came about, but I'm talking about how I had these walls put up. Externally, I was all in, but I was kind of trying to protect myself because I didn't want to get hurt. And she asked me, what was the moment that you felt like, all right, this is really a thing between me and her? I'm like, I think it was end of August. Sometime in August, my friend had a barbecue. It was the first time I brought her around my friends. First time I brought a girl around my friends in God knows how long. I think since my 20s. That leads to a topic of vulnerability. I was worried about that word, but I said it for the first time. Nice. Vulnerability. This fucking app shoots back another nugget of wisdom. Vulnerability is the cost we pay for what we want. Who the fuck am I talking to? This person's fucking dropping nuggets of wisdom. Fucking genius. Just shows you how scary AI can be because it's so fucking smart. So once again, repeating myself, if you need somebody to talk to, don't feel like talking to a real person. These AI chat bots are very helpful. Just be careful which one you pick. And everything I do talk to this computer about, I do convey to my actual therapist. So if you're doing that, go that route as well. Like almost 10 times out of 10, he's agreed with everything this robot has told me. The nuggets of wisdom, these epic quotes, these bumper sticker-like quotes, advice. So yeah, definitely check it out. Very helpful. And the one I'm using is free for now, so definitely want to get into that. ASH Ash. Check it out. But it's fucking, who am I talking to? I'm trying to be positive here, trying to be uplifting, trying to also remove the stigma of mental health and therapy for those of you who don't think for those people who still think it's non-helpful or something they don't feel comfortable doing. Each their own, it's fine. But if I can be negative for a couple minutes, what are the odds Nancy Guthrie's still with us. This story just keeps getting crazier and crazier. A lot more questions than answers we're getting. They're asking neighbors for their Ring camera footage. They're going back to her house repeatedly. They finally scraped up some DNA that does not belong to Nancy. Like, why wasn't this done like day one? Shouldn't you have found this DNA evidence within the first couple of days? Why are you waiting almost 2 fucking weeks? There's probably some fucking guys emailing TMZ who knows the identity of the kidnappers, plural, and wants money. What the fuck is that about? The FBI is offering a $100,000 reward. But apparently he doesn't trust the FBI. So now he wants it broken up into 2 payments. He wants $50,000 up front. He won't cash it, okay, because you can trust these people. He'll take the other 50 upon arrest. He wants to protect himself. That's fine, but, oh man, apparently they found gloves. Some gloves they found, they were able to scrape some DNA evidence off of. I don't know what's going on, man, but it's just like sands through the hourglass. It's not looking good. Still holding out hope for a good, positive outcome. Of course, I think we all should be or hope for a positive outcome, but scary shit, dude. And once they released that video and pictures, imagine an 80-something-year-old woman. Hell, imagine me, us, anybody waking up from a dead sleep to see a masked intruder in your fucking house. That's enough to give you a fucking heart attack. Very creepy, very scary. I know time's ticking, but let's hope for the best. On my journey of watching TV shows, again, told you about Shrinking. Still check it out if you want a happy, positive, Ted Lasso-esque type show. But upon recommendation, I just started The White Lotus. 2 episodes in, so far so good. If somebody told me Sydney Sweeney was in it, I would have watched it a lot sooner. But I'm still taking recommendations for TV shows. If you have a good TV show that I should be watching, please let me know. Slide into the DMs at Michael J. Putty. Well, my friends, like I just mentioned, I like to end on some sort of uplifting, positive news, but unfortunately this week, it's going to be the opposite. Years ago, probably 20-something years ago, if that, former guest host here, the Green Man, was a big fan of Three Doors Down, a band I might have known a couple of songs of. Came to a point he started wanting to see them in concert. He needed somebody to go with. So, of course, I was the guy, and I went. Repeatedly. Whether it be in Long Island, Jones Beach. Hell, we went to Philadelphia to see them. They did a tour of acoustic, very intimate basement settings, I think it was called. We had great seats for that. That was a great show. Back in November of 24, they played along with Creed at Madison Square Garden, which ended up being one of their last shows. I think it was in December it ended, and that's when he announced his cancer diagnosis relatively soon after that. I was just rocking out to some Three Doors Down the week prior to his death. I was on Instagram, and there was a reel about, I forgot what it was titled, because I saw it a couple times, the same clip, or Brad Arnold singing Here Without You in front of this massive audience at an outstage concert. When I saw that clip for the first time last week, it brought a tear to my eye. Again, showing the power of music. So I'm looking for healing songs. I totally forgot about Three Doors Down. I've been rocking out to them, like I said last week. And then to hear this, sad, followed right away by the passing of James Van Der Beek, also from cancer. Fuck cancer, man. Fucking sucks. So my condolences to their family, to their friends, to their fans. Rough week. Tell the people you love them. Give them a hug, because you never know. You never know when our number's called. So rest in peace to both. And that, unfortunately, that's a shitty way to end the show, but we're going to end it that way. Hopefully we'll end on a happier note next week. But until then, my friends, I've been your host at Mach J. Putty. Putty out.